Hello, are you here to debate?
Yeah.
Okay, what's your name, age, and pronouns?
Brendan. My age is 23, and then my pronouns, I guess, just he, him.
Okay, Brendan, 23, he, him. Okay, Brendan, what topic on the board did you want to debate about today?
I specifically wanted to talk about capitalism is the worst.
Okay.
So I just wanted to ask some qualifying questions first, if that's all right.
Sure.
So what would be like your ideal form of system?
I flirt with communism a bunch. I think that decommodifying the necessary resources that are required to survive is probably a good thing. So, unprivatizing ownership is probably going to be a much better system than privatizing ownership.
Okay. If you had to closely relate it to a country that now exists or has existed in the past, which one would you say is closest to your form of system? Just so I can get a better understanding.
Cuba, probably.
Cuba? Okay. So as far as how you would go about achieving your ideal system, so would it be like a transitionary state, or would you be trying to vote in democratically and then switch on to authoritarianism and then enact these policies? Which way would you go?
I don't think we'll be able to vote ourselves out of capitalism. I think if when it comes to like voting right now, um, voting is always going to be controlled by capital. So it'd probably need to be some level of worker-led revolution, whether that's worker strikes or worker revolts. That's up to the people how they want to handle that.
So the only problem with that I would see is that you'd probably, regardless of how you actually do the revolution, 30% of people probably won't be willing to give up their private capital, right? Or like even like more, like 50%, 60%. You could even go
Sucks
up
to
to
be
70%
them.
if you're talking about the United States.
I promise
So
you.
like
I
that would
promise.
have to be like,
Wait. I just gotta let you know. Way less than 60% of people own capital.
well, the state would have to control private property in your system, right?
Well, if I'm going communism, there is no private property, so the state wouldn't be controlling anything.
Okay, so how would you get to where nobody controls anything now and it's just held by the communes?
I
Because
just
without a
told you.
transitionary state, that would feel very impossible and idealistic.
Why?
You get
Why
what
does
I'm
it
saying?
feel? Why does it feel impossible to you?
Because typically, I mean, if you follow the ideology of like Marxist Leninists, right, they have advocated for that transitionary state because you need the authoritarian power to enact these policies that you want.
Why?
Because most people aren't going to be on board with it, right?
Yeah. Why would most people not be on board with it?
Because they like capitalism generally.
Yeah. Why do most people like capitalism?
Um, well, I mean, so far it has been the most prosperous system that we've seen.
In what way has it been prosperous? Like, how are you defining prosperous?
In terms of like capital gain, propping up people, higher salaries,
Wait. Why are
developing the world, for example.
wait. So you're measuring that capitalism is better than other systems by a capitalist metric? Capitalism's always gonna win in that case. That's like
Well, yeah,
if I'm like basketball's better than baseball. Well, why is basketball better than baseball? Because in basketball you score more baskets. Well, duh. There's no baskets in baseball. So why are we measuring it? But why are we measuring capitalism by capitalism standards?
because there's no realistic form of communism that I can debate against right now.
What are you talking about? I'm not asking you to debate communism. I'm asking you to look at standards. Like, come up with a standard of what makes a system good. If your standard for what makes a system good is people get money, then
But
obviously
how can I have a
capitalism is
standard
always
for
going to
something that
win.
doesn't exist or
What are you
never has
talking
existed?
about? Communism and socialism both have very detailed structures listed out in multiple works, right? If we're talking about what is
But
a
we've never
good,
seen a real world
that
implementation
has
of it,
nothing
so we
to
never
do
got the
with
drawbacks
that has
of
nothing to do with
full-on communism.
standards.
Did
That
we?
has nothing to do with standards, bro.
Did we ever get the
If I'm
drawbacks of
asking
full-on
you, wait.
communism?
Do you understand why saying capitalism is good because it makes you the most money is a terrible standard to look at something?
Again, I don't have any standards to combat against communism.
I'm not
because it's
asking
never
you if you have
existed.
standards for communism. I'm asking if you understand that saying the phrase capitalism is good because it gets you more capital is a really dumb way to look at metrics for the quality of a system.
Do you think that a society with more
Holy
capital will
shit.
inherently be more prosperous than a society without
No.
capital? No.
No.
So a society with less capital, generally speaking today, do you think that it is less prosperous than a society with more capital?
Let me ask you a I'll answer this by
Notice that you
asking.
completely just dodged that question.
I'm not dodging
right?
the question. We're still on that. We're on that dialogue tree.
So
and I'm-
if I took Uganda,
Holy
right,
shit.
with its form of capital, right,
Holy
and I
shit.
compared
Uganda
it to
is
the
still
United States or any
capitalist. What are you
Nordic country,
talking
do you think
about?
which one do you think is more prosperous?
Uganda is capitalist, and Uganda has suffered from fucking years and years of fucking colonialism. Uganda's had their
Yeah, so
wealth
notice how you pivoted,
systematically
right? So
stolen from
inherently, a
them.
country with better capital is going to be
That's
more
not
prosperous.
better.
correct?
That's theft. If I steal all your money, am I better off because
Yeah,
is
so
the
you're
system
dodging the
good?
question
No, you're
again.
just
So I
an
asked
idiot
you
who
if a
doesn't
country with
understand how
more
questions
capital-
work. Fucking Christ, bro. If we're saying, hey guys, theft. If I said this to you, if I said stealing is better than working, would you agree?
Yeah, we're not talking about stealing now.
No,
We're talking
would you
about
agree? Yes
more
or no?
less
No
capital,
shit. It's
right?
a fucking analogy.
The question was
stupid.
about more or less capital.
Duh, we're not
stealing.
talking
Do
about
I
stealing,
disagree that-
stupid.
that-
It's an
that people have
analogy,
put
you
down
fucking
Africa?
idiot.
No, I don't disagree
It's an
with that.
analogy,
You're not
dumbass.
understanding my question.
It's an
You're not
analogy,
understanding
dumb
it.
fuck. It's an
I asked
analogy.
you specifically
It's an analogy,
if a country
stupid.
with
Fuck
more
in
capital
Christ.
is going
How
to
do
be
these
more
how do these
prosperous
callers
on
don't know what
average than a
fucking
country with
analogies
less
are,
capital?
bro?
And you can't answer that
How do these
question
people? I've
because
already
you
answered
want
the
a
question.
violent revolution
I've
that would
answered
kill,
the question, dummy.
Admit it. You would want
I've answered
to
the
kill
question.
40% of
I've answered
people.
the question. If they don't give up their capital,
Admit it.
bye. Sorry.
Yeah,
Bye.
so
See
you
ya.
would kill them all, wouldn't you?
No,
You would genocide capitalists.
there's a whole nother option here. They give up their capital.
Say you would genocide capitalists.
I wouldn't.
But how would they give up their capital?
Now who looks fucking stupid. So again, let's go through what
Then
a
how would
fucking
they give up their
analogy is.
capital?
Let's go through what an analogy
Then
is.
how would they give
so
up
when
their capital?
Holy shit, do you think you run this conversation?
Then how would they give up their capital?
Do you think you run this conversation? Great. He's muted. So this way, he's muted chat. So this way I can just talk. Because apparently people don't know how fucking conversations work in this fucking day and age. They want to debate, but they don't know how conversations work. So he'll be muted until I finish my sentence and then he can unmute. So if I were to tell you, chat, hey, working is better than stealing. Okay. And someone said, why? And I said, because working, I have more money. And then I come back with, well, what if I just stole all your money? Then would stealing be a better system? Would stealing be a better system in that vein, chat? Would it? So when he goes, well, hey, look, the US is better because it has more capital than a country like Uganda that's had its wealth systematically stolen from it. Oh, but that makes it better, right? Because theft in his mind, theft equals better because capitalists always end up going might is right. Next, when we have the conversation and he goes, well, capitalism is better because it gets you more capital. Okay. He's arguing under a metric that only exists under the one system. So when I say, hey, is basketball better than baseball because in basketball you get more baskets? That's a stupid way to analyze something. Now, we can go, hey, has there ever been a system in which didn't involve capitalism, which is the privatization of property, in which there wasn't this massive inequality? Yeah, you can look at fucking indigenous tribes all over the fucking world who did not have a private property ownership. I would argue a system in which everybody shares equally and there is no widespread disenfranchisement of people in said system, and there isn't this mass disparity of people starving versus people who are hoarding more wealth than they'll ever be able to use in their life, is actually a lot better than a system that does the opposite 100% of the time. Now, let's see if he can actually give a metric that makes capitalism better. Let's hear. Now you're unmuted. Answer the question.
Okay, appreciate you unmuting me. So, your first point, I wasn't arguing whether stuff was stolen from Africa. All right, I was just saying that generally speaking, in today's society, a country with more capital is just going to be more prosperous, right? That's all I was saying. And you didn't answer that question, which is why I kept repeating it.
Why is the country?
You acknowledge that?
Why is the country who's had its wealth taken lack capital?
What? I'm not asking why though.
That's the problem. You're saying it's better while only looking at half the equation.
I said more prosperous for the people.
Yes, a country that has its wealth stolen can't be as prosperous as countries that steal wealth. Yes.
Okay, well, you're mind-fucking the rephrase on that, but generally
that's the
speaking,
case.
A country with more capital is going to be more beneficial to its citizens than a country with less capital.
The countries that steal are more prosperous than the countries that get stolen from, 100%.
I can't believe you can't even concede this. It's ridiculous.
I just said 100%. But the problem is you're just saying they're more prosperous because they have more capital. Why do they have more capital?
We aren't talking about stolen funds. I may agree with you that Uganda got its stuff stolen by the United States. Sure, that's fine.
Then it's not I don't have a problem. That's what I'm saying. You lack nuance in all of these questions.
Like you just can't even concede a simple point like that.
Because you're not having a nuanced answer.
Having a conversation like this?
Because it's not a black and white answer. You won't even acknowledge
that you'd be genociding capitalists.
I wouldn't be. They would be choosing to die.
Do with the capitalists if they don't give up their private property?
They would choose to die. They don't have to die.
So you're genociding, right?
No, they have a choice. They have a choice.
So
either give up their capital or face the wall.
So if Hitler asked gay people if they could stop being gay and then they choose to die if they don't, is that a choice?
Hitler didn't do that. Hitler didn't give a choice.
Is that a choice, dog?
What are you talking about? Hitler didn't give a choice.
I mean, I'm saying if he did, though, would that be a choice? If a Christian group goes up to a group of gay people,
I'll make it even easier for you. I'll make it even easier for you.
They won't kill them.
I'll make it even easier. We won't even kill all the capitalists, right? We won't kill them. We'll just ship them off to an island, and they can live on an island called Ancapistan for the rest of their life. They can stay on that island, have fun.
Removing them and shipping to a place where they can just
they can do capitalism.
Society, and then
they can go to that island and do capitalism. They can go to that island and do capitalism.
And the people who refuse to leave, what would you do with them?
Wait,
what if they refuse to leave with arms?
I'm stealing their property. I'm just becoming more prosperous, right? So my system is better because it would be more prosperous.
I mean, sure.
That was your conceit, right? Is that the system that is more prosperous?
Yeah, I mean, technically,
the system
you would
with the more
capital. Prosperous.
Okay, then what's your my
if
system is better.
If you were a single actor and you were stealing a bunch of property, you would technically be
my system is better than your system.
I don't think those 2 points conflate. So
what
would you do with the people?
Why is capitalism better again?
So what would you do with the people who refuse to leave?
They can face the wall. I don't give a fuck.
So you would kill them, right?
If they refuse, if I have somebody who actively tells me, I don't care about the harm it's doing to everybody else, I refuse to give up my capital, whether or not giving up that capital means ending exploitation. So I go, here, you can end exploitation or you can hoard your wealth. And they go, I want to continue to hoard. And I say, here's the option. You can hoard your wealth. You can go live on this island where you and all the other capitalists can be capitalists. You can take your fucking gold with you. I don't give a fuck. Or you can face the wall. I'm now giving you 3 options. If you choose door number 3, that's on you for choosing door number 3. You could have done any number of things.
There are millions of poor people who support capitalism in the United States.
Poor people don't have capital, so there's nothing to take from them. They don't own capital.
They could have.
No, they don't. Capital. Money is not capital. They do not own any capital. That's why they are part of the working class.
Have assets.
They don't have assets. Aren't capital. Fucking Christ. Assets aren't capital. When we talk about capital, specifically in the conversation of here, we're talking about private property. We spent 15 minutes and you don't even know what these things mean. I wish we could have just fucking started there to begin with, right? Poor people do not own the means of production. They don't own land, labor, capital, technology that all goes towards the creation of goods and services. That's not owned by the working class. A poor mother who has 3 kids doesn't own that shit. Otherwise, she wouldn't be poor anymore. So no, poor people don't have capital to steal. They have wealth to steal. They have labor to steal that the capitalists keep doing. They don't own capital.
Okay, so do you think stocks are a capital asset?
I think a certain amount of stocks, sure. When you have enough stocks that you now have control, sure. Prior to that, if stocks were split evenly, holy fuck, dude.
Do a large amount of poor people have 401ks?
They do not have enough stock to have an owner share. So they're not owners. They are not owning stocks does not make you a part of the owner class.
But it is capital, right? Stocks are capital.
Are you dead ass?
You gonna answer?
Are you dead ass?
Are stocks capital?
Are you dead ass? I just defined you. I just defined you the terms. I just defined you the terms. Are stocks used in the creation? Are stocks used? I don't care what most economists said. I defined you the terms I'm using, right? Are stocks used in the creation of goods and services by poor people?
Why would I need to answer that? I just asked you if stocks are capital.
Because you're ignoring the fucking... I literally defined my terms for you. By capital, when we're saying we are going to take capital, we're saying we are going to remove the things that are privately owned by individuals and corporations, which would be the means of production, which are things used in the creation of goods and services. We are going to give those things collectively to the people. So do I think that somebody who says, hey, I don't own any means of production, if I go, hey, yo, I'm going to give you part of the means of production, do I think they're going to deny that? Probably not. The only people that are going to are the people who do own the mass share of the means of production, which are going to be the owner class, not the poor person living in the US, but the wealthy people who own the means of production. But if you want to ignore the terms I've defined for you, that just means you're disingenuous.
I don't think you understand how people actually vote for things publicly. So I'm a liberal, and there are very capitalist right-wingers every single fucking year or every 4 years who vote against their interests. So I don't think you understand how many...
You vote against your interests.
...people would vote against that, even if they're poor, right?
You vote against your own interests.
Yeah, so you would kill them, though, right?
They don't have anything to steal, so what am I killing them for? They don't own anything. Well, so what no. The conceit was, would I kill people who refuse to give up their capital? And in this case, I've already told you that capital is the means of production. They don't own any means of production. So there's nothing to take from them. Now, if they want to fight and put their life on the line for billionaires and for the people that do own, that's on them for choosing the wrong side.
So you would also kill them if they advocate for capitalism, right?
If they fight, then we are going to fight
What if they don't
back.
Fight? What if they peacefully protest for capitalism?
Then sit there and peacefully protest for capitalism all you fucking want, bro.
Well, what if the majority of people are peacefully protesting for capitalism?
Then peacefully protest all you fucking want, bro.
So they would actually... What if they won a vote share, though? And we're threatening to dismantle your communist utopia.
So let's run through this gambit. We have a system that I create in which everybody has food, water, shelter, education, access to help, all this shit, right? Now, the majority of people now go, hey guys, we don't like this. Instead, we want to go back to a system where we had to work to pay rent. And you think the majority of people are going to go, yes, let's do that?
I mean, maybe. The
Maybe.
problem is that
how come every time there's a
real
vote,
world example to compare your system to?
Oh my fucking God, what are you talking about? Every society that worked this way was genocided, right? You want to talk about the genocide? Indigenous tribes had no private property. Didn't exist. Everybody in the tribe...
Did indigenous tribes fight each other for property owned by each other's tribes?
No. No,
So
they
they did
didn't.
not at all. That's your claim?
No, literally didn't have a concept of private property. They didn't have a concept of it. What are you
Okay,
talking
but for
about?
tribal ownership, did they fight each other?
What are you talking about? You can look at the multitude of tribes
Did
that
they fight each
existed.
other
No,
over
you can look
land
at
for tribal ownership, is what I said.
again. No, not in the way you think they're
Did
fighting
they?
each other over land. No,
Oh, not in the way I think.
no.
Okay.
Yes.
So we can
yes.
revise some history. That's all right. Yeah.
I'm not revising history. I'm giving correct history. You can look at, for example, look at California. The indigenous tribes that lived in California were entirely peaceful. They had interpersonal conflicts all the time. People are always going to. They didn't go to war with each other over land. They didn't go to war with each other over like resources because they had free movement between tribes. Multiple tribes in what is now considered North America, was originally Turtle Island, had that same shit. Do you know how we know this? Because when people like Christopher Columbus came over, they were like, well, it was really easy to conquer this people because they didn't have an idea of ownership. So we kind of just came in and took everything because they didn't have an idea of that. Now, what happened is
So
I'm not done.
the indigenous
After,
tribes.
I'm not
okay,
done.
No,
I'm not
no,
done.
You're just
I'm
literally
not done.
gish galloping.
It's not
Please,
a gish
let me
gallop.
address.
It's not a
Let me
gish
address
gallop
the point at a time.
wait, it's
because
not
you
a
made the
gish
point
gallop. I
wanted
don't
to
think you
address
fucking
2
know
minutes
what
ago.
gish gallops are. You don't even know what a gish gallop is. It's not a gish gallop because I'm on
You're
the same.
You're saying so many points. I can't respond.
I'm not
to
saying
them
so many
fast
points. It's all the
enough.
same fucking point. What are you talking about? There hasn't been
Okay,
a separate
so
point. It's the same point.
You said, okay.
Fuck, dude. These debaters today are fucking insane.
So. Okay. So did indigenous tribes fight over resources at all?
Sometimes.
Yeah. So they fought over resources, right? And that was owned collectively by the tribes, generally, is what you're saying.
Yep.
Okay. So were they not fighting over land then? Because you said no to that question, not in the way that I think was your response.
Okay. So had you let me finish my point, I wouldn't have to now answer your question because it was coming in my answer. But you wanted to go, oh, well, he's gish galloping. Maybe. If you're waiting to hear me espouse upon a point, you listen to the point.
But we're having a debate. Like,
did you think
the
about
point
that?
is to continue the conversation.
Did you think about
mutually,
that?
Right?
Yeah, but all we did now was waste another 2 minutes when you could have just listened. Crazy. Now, secondly,
well,
or thirdly, I don't know where I was. I don't know where I was, but here we go. Let's continue. Let's continue. Fighting over how to use the resource is different than fighting over who owns the resource. These are two different things, right? Because at the end of the day, when indigenous tribes fought over resources, when the resource was taken, the tribes still gave that resource to the other tribes. Okay? Now, when colonization happened, the indigenous tribes, you'll notice a drastic shift in the way they fought because they were introduced to these concepts, and we're now introduced to the concept of theft in the way that we know theft when it comes to like capitalism and resource theft. So they had to change the way they fought. This is why when you see pre-colonization indigenous tribes, the strategies they used, the way they fought, all of these things were different to fighting post dealing with colonizers stealing their shit. Quite literally.
Okay. So, was there evidence that they were like a communist utopia before the?
Holy fuck! Did I say utopia? Did I ever say utopia, chat? Maybe I'm fucking high as shit. Did the word utopia ever come out of my mouth?
All right. Yeah, I get it. You're gonna be pedantic over time.
Okay. Well, because when you say utopia, what you're saying is no. I don't give a fuck about your hyperbole. Maybe don't be hyperbolic in a debate.
I was being hyperbolic.
Maybe don't be hyperbolic in a debate.
Can we continue?
Maybe don't be hyperbolic in a debate.
There you go.
Answer me this question. I just want to go from a baseline. Answer me this question. Do you think we live in an ethical system currently in capitalism? Do you think our system is ethical?
Not entirely, no. I believe that there should be better safety social nets, like, let's say, like European countries. I believe in nationalized healthcare. I think certain industries should be nationalized. I'm not opposed to that. However, I mean, generally speaking, I don't believe in the full nationalization of America's economy.
Great. Answer me this question. Do you think it is ethical that someone is able to buy up a water source and then sell that water source back to you?
I mean, do they own the land?
So you do think it's ethical if they own the land?
If they own the land, yeah, I think it's ethical.
Why should somebody have the right to own land?
It's pretty philosophical. I don't really know how to answer that question. I'm gonna be honest.
So
Generally
it's
speaking,
ethical to own the land, but you don't know why it should be ethical to own the land.
I think if I had to give an answer, let's see.
Well, if you're claiming it's ethical, you should have to give an answer of why you believe it to be ethical.
Yeah. I believe it's ethical because usually, in order for you to own land, you have to work for it. For example.
Okay, so it's ethical to own land because you have to work. I'm assuming your pause right now is
Sure.
because you realize how kind of ridiculous that sounds.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how to exactly justify private property.
Okay, so private property is something you're
I don't
incapable
read
of
much up on,
justifying.
like, philosophy of capitalism, for example.
Okay,
But
so you're incapable of justifying private property. However, you do believe that it's ethical, but you just can't tell me why it's ethical.
okay,
You can't really
hold
justify
on.
it,
Let me
but it
think of
is
an answer.
justifiable
I guess.
and ethical.
Okay, fine. So I believe it's ethical to own private property because individuals deserve autonomy from the state, the ability to contribute to society through development of land, maybe, and let's say, I guess, also security from the state.
Okay. Do you believe individuals deserve that over the right to the resources necessary to sustain their life, such as food, water, healthcare, etc.?
Can you have both?
No.
So you can't own land and have the resources necessary to survive?
You can't have the right to those resources if private property exists, because somebody owns the water and you have to buy the water back from them, meaning you do not have a right to that water. They have all the rights to the water and they sell you use to the water. So no, these are two literal antithetical positions. To say somebody has a
No, I mean,
right to food, water, shelter.
Can you solve for that through social safety nets, though? You can grant people access to water even if they
Okay,
can't afford
so
it.
social safety net. So your claim is that people deserve to have autonomy from the state, but the way we do that autonomy and make sure that people have a right to the resources is by taxing people, which is in and of itself not autonomy from the state. So
in regards to
give
private
people
property, you can have a state which allows private property but doesn't but also allows taxation.
No, but your reason for why private property is ethical and justified is because you want people to have autonomy from the state. But now you're saying that they shouldn't actually have autonomy from the state because we need their wait, hold on. Wait. If your issue is the autonomy of the state, why would you support a system of taxation? Taxation is the exact opposite of autonomy, and by taxation,
autonomy from the state in regards to private property, not taxation.
Wait, so then you're saying private property is justifiable because private property is justifiable, right? So then we're back to our initial question. Why is private property justifiable? If you're saying private property is justifiable because it gives you autonomy to buy private property, what?
Do you acknowledge the
That's
difference between a wage tax and do you acknowledge the difference between a wage tax and the right to own private property?
What? You have
How
no
are those
clue.
things exactly the same?
You have no clue what your argument is right now, right? I'm asking you the reason why something is justifiable. And if you're saying the reason why it's justifiable is because autonomy from the state is important, okay? You can't then say private property is justified because autonomy from the state to buy private property needs to exist, because that's a circular answer. I'm asking why the ownership of that private property is justifiable. You're just going in circles.
Yeah, I'll give you an answer. Yeah, but you're telling me that it's inherently a circular argument to say that you want autonomy from the state, but then also
it's
want
circular
taxation,
if you say the reason
autonomy.
for the autonomy from the state is for private property ownership. That's what makes it circular. If you're just saying we, as a general rule of thumb, we need autonomy from the state, that's not circular. But then you run into a contradiction because you said that people should receive social safety nets which would be a removal of autonomy from the state, which you then tried to justify by saying, but I only meant up private property, which now goes back to your original point being circular.
Yeah, because you're saying like it has to be like 0 or 100. It's like full autonomy or no autonomy. You agree that generally speaking in a society, you can have some autonomy from the state, but not have full autonomy from the state.
Why do you need autonomy from the state to own private property? Why
that's not my question,
should we have?
though.
That's
Again, you're dodging the question.
That's my
I asked
question.
you if you could be in a middle ground between autonomy from the state, and you didn't answer.
Dude, you don't understand a logic tree right now.
You've been making this point for 2 minutes to me that
bro.
you can't have taxation and
you literally don't understand. Wait, no, hold on. I'm saying, okay, sure, there is different levels of autonomy. Why should someone be able to?
You didn't say that.
Homie,
you said
when I
you
asked you the question,
and private land ownership,
asked you the question,
that's exactly what you said.
Christ, dude,
that's what you said 2 minutes ago.
You literally don't understand this. When I ask you the question, and I go, why is autonomy from this?
Or did you?
No, Jesus Christ, dude, we're not going to literally, you're not controlling the conversation. I hate to tell you this.
Why would I want
you don't control the conversation
from the state?
Okay, so now we're going to have to do the mute. Now we're going to have to do the mute thing again. So we're going to have to do the mute thing because he doesn't understand the fucking conversation. When I inherently say the phrase, why is autonomy to own private property important? I'm separating it from all other levels of autonomy. I'm focusing on this one level of autonomy, right? Because you've made the conceit that autonomy to like having autonomy from the state for like resources, not important. You actually should be reliant on the state, and we should allow for maybe reliance not the right word, but it is okay that people don't have autonomy when it comes to like the state forcing them to pay taxes, yada 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 yada. But they do need autonomy to own private property. So my question is, why do they need autonomy? Why is it justified that they have that autonomy to own private property? Why is that an important thing that is required? Now you're unmuted. Hopefully you understand the line of questioning now. Jesus.
Okay. So one more question for you. You think it's justified to genocide capitalists, right?
I've already answered that question like 4 times.
Just answer it one more time.
No.
Why not?
No, because it's not genocide because they won't give up their capital.
Okay, but you would kill them, right?
Was it genocide when we killed? Was
it
genocide when we killed Nazis because they refused to give up Nazism? Was that genocide?
No.
Why not?
But you would kill them en masse, though, right?
Why not? Why would
because they're capitalists?
Was it genocide when we killed the Nazis because they refused to give up Nazism?
Because they oppose your ideology, right?
Is it genocide? Was it genocide when we killed the Nazis because they opposed the ideology of non-Nazism?
You answer my question first, man.
When you answer this one.
You answer my question first.
When you answer this one.
You answer my question.
When you don't control this live. I don't know what the fuck you think you're doing. This ain't your fucking stream, homie.
Shit, yeah.
Answer the question. Was it genocide?
Yeah, there's
yes or no?
No shades of gray when it comes to autonomy from the state. So
Never said that.
I'll leave it there. Have a good one, man.
Yep. I know you're running. There you go. An absolute run. Fucking Christ, dude. So the answer would be, no, it wasn't genocide when we killed Nazis. That would be the answer that he didn't want to answer because that he doesn't want to go down because when he does answer that, why isn't it genocide when they killed Nazis? Because the Nazis were engaging in a system that was causing mass suffering. So why would it be genocide if we take out the capitalists who refuse to give up capitalism when their system is engaged in mass suffering? Why is that now genocide? The reason is because he simps for capitalists. Thank you guys for watching, and shout out to my YouTube members. Their names appear on the side. Membership starts at $2.99 and gets you access to early videos, uncensored videos, and members-only content. Also, shout out to Tier 4 members Blaze and Yemye. Tier 4 members get to help choose debate topics, and their contributions go a long way to helping me create higher quality content for all of you. Remember to subscribe for your daily dose of leftist debates, and I'll see you in the next video.